Well, good morning. This is American Zarathustra, sitting in my backyard, doing something different. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and I wanted to apologize for not putting anything up in so long. I've come to discover that my laptop needs to go in the shop. There's some issues. I've recorded 3 interviews with Tom Kaczynski, technical difficulties with all of them. And I'm the kind of guy that I'm extremely loving and patient with people. But if technology doesn't work, I become like the Hulk. I just want to smash everything around me. So fortunately, pardon me, I have my phone here and I'm just sitting outside chatting with you because I don't want to wake up the family on this early morning. I guess a distant dog barking might indicate that somebody can hear me. Anyway, hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I'm sitting here on a crisp morning after having my coffee, and so a lot to be thankful for. I think in the movement, we're all kind of, how do I put this? There's a existential angst that we're always carrying with us, that every day we're reacting to in anger to so many things coming out online about anti-white media and et cetera, et cetera. I don't need to repeat all that. You know about it, right? So something that has occurred to me is this idea that what are we actually doing that's leading towards change other than reacting and responding to these things. So that, maybe just kind of brainstorm a bit. I think that could take 2 forms in general. One is just simply taking care of yourself. This is something that Augustus Invictus advocates for all the time. He always says, get in the gym and this and that. And, he's actively pursuing his spiritual path. Many of us are, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a great thing. So then it kind of comes to the question of what are we doing in our community? What are we doing to affect change? I guess it's a bit of a fantasy of mine to be able to have, enormous sweeping change in culture and politics to, maybe it's the white savior complex applied to my own people. So it's a good instinct. It's not a bad thing, but of course it's a fantasy. So we kind of have to back up a bit and say, let's look at let's slow down a lot and say, okay, what about your block or your street? We have block parties every summer where I live, and, we've established a sense of community here. And when people are in trouble, we communicate with each other. Let's say there's an elderly person that's snowed in or something and we can help her out. Or, if there's some suspicious people wandering around the neighborhood, we notify each other. So these are just small things. So what if we took that and we made it bigger? If somehow we were able to get our ideas into some kind of IRL, in real life public forum that, would be safe for normies, because we know that, our people are generally brainwashed and hogtied, by the establishment. And so when we bring up white identity, white well-being, there's a lot of machinations in their mind, and a lot of, hula hoops and jumping through flaming hoops and whatever you want to call it that they do to make excuses or react negatively. And so we got to come to some kind of idea where, okay, how can we parse this out? How can we create kind of gates through which that they go through, and they can, here's the first thing about, hey, you should be proud of yourself and your community, and you're welcome here. No judgment. You are you. Do your thing. You do you. And welcome to the community. And then, have some kind of a safe space where people can talk through ideas and thoughts on, their fears and desires for their community. and establish local goals. Like, what are our goals? What do we want? In a sense, is bypassing the law and just doing things for ourselves. So, in a very local way and a kind of one-on-one way. So, again, this isn't that sweeping fantasy of, oh, I can change the world. Rather, I can change my world. So that's actually maybe a good byline we can use, or a little sort of phrase we could use. I may not be able to change the world, but I can change my world. So again, with the spirit of white well-being, if we really need leaders to step up, we've got to find people. And I honestly am going to say, if you're out there shitlording and meme lording and doing all this stuff online, maybe this is the time for us to turn that energy towards our real life communities. So I feel that would take some planning and thinking. Start some meetup groups. Yeah, you can meet up with people that are, alt-right or whatever you're, wherever you are on the scale or the spectrum of politics, and start talking through, hey, how can we do things for our local community? And on the one hand, you have those campaigns where you see the "It's okay to be white" signs around. This is fun and cool, and I dig it and everything, and it's whatever, I get it. But in a way, though, it's still trolling. It's still kind of like a, I don't mean to, I'm not trying to say this in a mean way, but it's almost like an adolescent way of doing things, in the sense that, making liberals angry is meaningless. It's useless. We did that, and we're just making, I don't know. it's let's do constructive things. Let's think forward, in the sense of, okay, that was cool, but let's actually be okay, instead of just saying it's okay to be okay. Let's do something together. I hang out with the Proud Boys in my local town, and it's a long story how that all fell into place. I'm not officially a Proud Boy. I don't have that tattoo and do whatever, but I support their patriotism. I support the general ideas that they stand for, which is originally American. It's constitutionalist. I would say that, although the organization has evolved and gone through a lot of trouble over time, every individual group is self-determined. Our group happens to be more, I'd say, kind of intellectual. We like to talk and think, and smoke pipes and scratch our beards and do stuff of that nature. We go shooting and camping, and there's other kind of cool stuff that we do. But, not so much like the rah, 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 fight in the streets kind of stuff, which I personally think is also, I mean, if you're exercising your freedoms, your rights, that's totally 1,000% cool. And defending yourself is 10,000% cool. But going into environments where there's going to be violence, and kind of, beating your chest and peacocking around, I don't think that's cool. I've never ever believed that protesting, left or right, does any good, other than it's a show for the cameras. It becomes a propaganda tool. I guess that's another discussion. We could go back and forth on that. But the point I'm making here is that we are a community, and we're a healthy community and a positive community. We're a free speech community, and as a group and as individuals, we're 10 times the men we used to be because of it. So, for me, that was just kind of easy to target. Like, oh, here's a group that is hip. They know about what's going on, cultural Marxism, globalism, and they're doing something about it, and they're having fun with it. It's been great. So whatever. So what about you, where you live? What do you have? If you don't have anything, make something. Be the ideal man. Be the Apollo. be the leader of your community. It doesn't have to be 100,000 people or whatever. Just you can get 5 people together and make a regular schedule, set goals, and then maybe do some community service things. Go from there. There's the sky's the limit. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do, and but the point is to be a community, to make a community, and central to that is white identity. Yes, it has to be explicit. Where, there's, I'll say, for example, in the Proud Boys, there's people that are not really all on board with that, and that's fine. They're in a different place. They have different backgrounds, different ethnicities, yada yada. So whatever, but they're not against it. They acknowledge that America was created as it was, and they acknowledge our history. We don't have to go through a whole explanation of history here. So in other words, they're not bowing to the revisionist Marxist version of take down the statues history, that kind of garbage. So yeah, let's be something. Let's do something. Scrolling our lives away on Twitter and Facebook is, there. I'd say maybe there's got to be time for that, because we got to plug in with alternative news. That's an online community. God bless you all. I love you all so much. There's so many cool people out there, and it's enriched my life tremendously. I think as a side note, it's tremendously sad to me that all my real friends, in a way, are now online, as opposed to all the friends that's stabbed me in the back and left me for dead in in 2019. Where I'm kind of openly alt-right now in my normie life, and it's in a weird way, yeah, of course, that pushes you, makes you more resolute in your views. The left would say it radicalizes you. Maybe they should look in the mirror and see how the mainstream media radicalizes them every day, all day. So whatever. Anyway, quick video here. I hope you enjoyed this mundane scenery of my backyard. Hope you're well. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless you all.